All right, Tino Sunseri is on the phone, the former Indiana QB coach, now the offensive coordinator at UCLA, coached Kurtis Rourke last year at Indiana.
All right, here we go. Tino, tell me about Kurtis Rourke to the Niners.
Well, you're not getting there's no better human being on earth than Kurtis Rourke. He's a guy that came in that was driven, knew what he wanted to be able to do, and made sure every day that he was working towards that goal. He's an older guy in the sense to where he's already married. He's already been through the fire. He's able to lean on his brother that was also a guy that was above him that had success at Ohio and was able to be able to play at the professional levels and be able to really, really talk through some situations and scenarios with him to be able to help him continuously being able to grow into the best version of himself. He's a smart guy that can handle a lot of information and go out into the field to be able to apply. He leads by example first and allows his voice to be able to follow because he wants to be able to first earn the respect by his teammates by how he plays. And he's going to be a guy that's going to be the first in the building and the last one to leave. So I think that the San Francisco 49ers got somebody that's going to be able to elevate that room and to be able to have it to where he pushes everybody around and to be able to be the best that they can possibly be.
You know what I love too is like I got to meet you guys this year at Indiana, and so he goes from Mike Shanahan, no relation. You were your boy. You guys were really tight, the offensive coordinator at Indiana, to Kyle Shanahan, son of Mike Shanahan, again no relation. But the point is he goes from Shanahan offense to Shanahan offense. So. And
Yeah.
obviously, you were not the offensive coordinator, but you played a huge role too as a QB coach. And so, what are the similarities between what you guys did at Indiana and James Madison to what the 49ers do?
Well, whenever I left Alabama, being there in 19 and 20 and taking all the offense that I had learned over those years, I really tried to be able to apply that to what we did at JMU and Indiana and to make it as NFL as we possibly could in every facet. So the quarterback is controlling everything from the line of scrimmage, from the decision making to be able to have run checks, pass to run checks, protection adjustments, and to be able to have it to where he gets to be able to pick every blade of grass from horizontally and vertically that he wants to be able to challenge on defense, depending on what they present to him. So when it comes to being able to have an offense that carries over, I think that it's going to be the same realm of him being able to have a lot of options in Coach Shanahan's offense and being able to know what tools that he needs to be able to pull out of his belt to be able to apply to certain situations that really presents himself. So I think that he'll have a really good familiarity of it. And I also love that he's going to be out there with Mac Jones, who I was with whenever we were at Alabama in 20. So
Oh,
he's going to have a guy that has a lot of familiarity with him and what we did at Indiana, because it was a lot of the same stuff that he did at Alabama. And he's going to be able to have it to where they'll be able to really build their relationship. And I already called Kurtis and talked to him and said to really lean on Mac and to be able to make sure to talk about our relationship. And I know that Mac's going to be a guy that's going to be able to help him out, to be able to help him grow.
it's kind of like like when you're a transfer guy, which is what he was last year. It's kind of like getting to the NFL, right? Like I would
Yep.
imagine he had to kind of drink from a fire hose when he showed up with you guys last year. And then you guys hit the ground. It worked. Like however you implemented offense with him last year, he took it and it worked. Um, so I don't know. Do you think there's any similar? Like what was your experience with him coming in as a transfer? Like what'd you guys have to do to get him up to speed fast?
I think the only thing we had to really be able to do is that we just had to be able to give him the information. I mean, he was a guy that knew how to be able to study. He knew how he needed to be able to segment his day out to be able to really prioritize the things that he needed to really be able to concentrate on.
Yeah.
And I felt like from the first day that he stepped in that building, there was never a day that he wasn't necessarily working on football. He was constantly striving to gain knowledge and understanding and everything. Now, it's always one thing to be a quarterback, to be able to know what's going on, but it's totally different realm whenever you actually got to be able to apply it versus live bullets. So the only thing that we had to really be able to do is give him the reps and allowing those reps to be able to accumulate so that he could be able to take those learning experiences and to be able to carry it over for him to be able to have to where it worked into the season. And the best thing about him is that he even really took his play from games and was able to really critique that and look at what he needed to be able to improve weekly to be able to help him be able to help us become the best team we possibly could. And he never was satisfied with what was happening the week prior. He was always constantly chasing the next thing, which is what we got to be able to do at quarterback. It's not about the last touchdown you threw. It's about the next one that you got to go get. So he has that same mindset in everything that he does.
Give me you got a CJ West take? You know, the Niners got him too.
Oh, CJ West is a guy that's another great guy. Came from the MAC. He had unbelievable humility of how to be able to really attack his work. Came in a little bit overweight, and we pointed out that we felt like if he got his weight down a little bit, that he'd be a really, really disruptive, really good player. And he did that. So he showed the maturity of being able to come in and have a business type of approach and being able to make sure that he was on top of the things that he knew that could be able to help him really, really separate himself from other people. He's a game wrecker inside. You can't move him. He's strong. But he's also a guy that can be able to hold the point and be able to stop the run, but convert that into a pass rush and be able to have it to where he can go speed to power, he can go direct power. And I know that the San Francisco got better inside with him being on the football team.
There cannot be another coach in America today that is driving from seeing a recruit, going to see their brand new baby boy in the hospital, and doing a radio interview all on the same day. Can't be done. Nobody else has done it but you.
I'm sure that there's other people, but shoot, when it comes to being able to get on the phone with family like you are, brother, I can't waste that opportunity, man.
I appreciate it.
That's the beauty of the way things have changed in the world. You know, like there's no expectation or standard. Like, we got to do this interview. It's got to look good, studio lighting, all that stuff. Like, hey, man, think that feature on your iPhone where you can just record a call. Amazing. Two-party consent state. So he was aware that he was being recorded. But Tino Sunseri is an awesome guy. I have to make clear, he was in the car driving back to the hospital. He had already been at the he was there for the birth of his child on Saturday. That interview was Saturday as I was driving from Eugene to Portland after the Oregon spring football game to catch my Saturday night flight back home to the Bay Area. And I texted him and said, hey, man, I'd love talking about Kurtis Rourke. I know you're busy, though, so only just, you know, if you're in the car sometime, give me a call. And he just called right away. He'd been hospital, baby born, had a recruit in town, go see the recruit, drive back to the hospital to be with his wife and his son. So he's the man. You know, obviously a lot of attention at UCLA in particular right now, but he can handle it. You know, this guy's been at Alabama, the coach he worked for at James Madison in Indiana, Curt Cignetti, very high standard, right? So I'm excited to see what he does with UCLA this year. But I like the Kurtis Rourke pick. You know, I know he's not the most mobile guy. That'd probably be the primary criticism. No, let me rephrase it. He's not mobile. And somebody sent me a DM on Instagram and said, hey, you called it. I didn't predict it. I just said I thought he was a candidate because I thought Shanahan would like him. Just like I said, I thought Shanahan would like Max Brosmer from Minnesota. And I thought he was a candidate. And guess who signed him? The Minnesota Vikings, another Shanahan offense. So I was right about the types of quarterbacks. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist here. I mean, you're not getting complete prospects in the second round, in the first round, let alone in the sixth or the seventh round. You have to give something to get something. And, you know, this guy is going to be, first of all, he's got to make the team, right? He's got to win. He's got to beat out Tanner Mordecai or whoever else the Niners bring in. But he's accurate. He's smart. He's grinded. He's been a backup before. I think that's important. You know, if you're drafting a guy in the seventh round, do you know how to not be the man? I remember somebody told me, a buddy of mine who played in the NFL for a long time told me one time, he's like, you know, quarterbacks can be the coolest guy in the room, some of them, but they can also be awkward. And the reason that some of them can be really awkward is because they're used to being the center of attention. So if you bring a guy in, this is like an interesting social study of a guy who obviously was not a quarterback. He's like, so you bring a quarterback into a room of like 8 people sitting around a table or dinner, or, you know, at a party or something. He's like, a lot of them are used to kind of being the center of attention. A lot of them are used to being the center of attention. It can make them weird. That was the way he put it. I was like, oh, that's really interesting perspective. So when you're taking a guy who is a quarterback, so he's been trained to be a leader and be the man, but he's not the man at that position. Does he know how to handle that? You know, I mean, that's part of what how the Shedeur situation played out, I think, for some of these teams. It's like, well, if he's supposed to be the man, how am I going to draft him to come in and like support the man? Actually, that's your job, is to support the man. You're not the man. You got to support the man. And I also think, you know, Brock Purdy is such an outlier. When you're drafting a guy in the 7th round, to me, part of what you're thinking, or the way I'm looking at this guy, is like, in a pinch, can he help me win a game? You're not thinking, if my starter goes down and my backup goes down and I'm a Super Bowl contender, can this guy take me from week 9 to week 18 and go, you know, undefeated? Like, the Purdy thing is just insane. To me, what you're thinking is like, all right, we're a borderline playoff team. We got a big game week 11. The starter got hurt. The backup is sick, whatever, gets hurt in the first quarter. Can I trust this third stringer to come in and not throw picks, hand it off, and play the field position game? And if it blossoms into a guy that you can trust to do a little more, great. But that's what you're looking for. Emotional consistency, predictability, hard work, good teammate, accuracy. Like, we know what the Shanahans are looking for. And we know the Shanahans are open to being, the Shanahan tree is open to being impressed and promoting a guy beyond the expectations that you had for him, like Brock. But, you know, to me, it's really fundamental. And I think what you heard there from Tino Sunseri is Kurtis Rourke is really fundamental. And I think he's got a shot. I think he's got a shot to beat out Tanner Mordecai. So maybe GFF will come back for those for grading practice throws. But appreciate Tino doing that. Appreciate you consuming content that's, you know, it's not, this one was not slick, but whatever. Who cares? It's the internet.